Welcome to your daily stock market summary from MarketSnap. Hey everyone, I'm thrilled to be back with you to break down the latest action in the markets on this exciting day in early May 2026. We've got a lot to cover, from record-breaking index moves to some major geopolitical headlines shaking things up, plus key earnings and standout stock performances. So, let's dive right in and see what's driving the financial world today as we keep our long-term investment strategies in focus. First up, let's talk about the major indexes because, wow, we're seeing some incredible numbers. The Dow Jones is flirting with the 50,000 mark, though it dipped slightly today. Meanwhile, the Nasdaq powered ahead with a near 1% gain, and the S&P 500 also notched a positive close, both hitting fresh record highs this week. This bullish momentum comes after one of the strongest monthly rallies in years for April, showing that investor confidence is riding high despite some global uncertainties. For us long-term investors, this kind of sustained strength signals a market with staying power, but we've got to stay vigilant for any short-term pullbacks. Now zooming into individual movers, let's check out the big winners among large-cap stocks. Tech continues to dominate, with names like Advanced Micro Devices and Intel leading the charge with solid gains. We're also seeing strength in energy, with companies like Equinor stepping up. These gains reflect broader sector trends, especially in tech, where AI and semiconductor demand are fueling optimism. For our long-term portfolios, these sectors remain key areas to watch, especially as innovation drives future growth. On the flip side, not everyone's celebrating. Some heavyweights took a hit, with Tesla sliding over 5% amid ongoing concerns, and other big names like ASML and GE Aerospace also seeing notable declines. These dips remind us of the volatility that can creep in, even in a strong market. As long-term investors, these moments can be opportunities to reassess entry points, but in the short term, they highlight the importance of diversification to weather these swings. Looking at the market movers, NVIDIA remains a standout in terms of activity, holding steady with a slight uptick, while Tesla's high volume reflects that big drop we just mentioned. Amazon and Netflix also caught attention with mixed moves. These names are often the pulse of the market, and for us focused on wealth building, keeping an eye on their trends can help gauge broader sentiment, even if we're not chasing every daily fluctuation. Speaking of volume, the most actively traded stocks today reinforce tech's grip on the market. NVIDIA and Tesla top the list, alongside Intel and even Nokia, showing significant investor interest. High volume often signals where the action is, and while we're not day traders, these patterns can hint at sectors or companies worth deeper research for our long-term holdings. Now, let's pivot to some major news shaking the markets. Geopolitical tensions are front and center, with President Trump announcing a 25% tariff hike on European autos, sparking backlash from the EU and German auto associations. This could pressure automakers in the near term, but for us long-term thinkers, it's a reminder to watch global trade dynamics as they can ripple through multiple sectors. On the energy front, U.S. LNG exports to Asia surged in April due to Middle East supply disruptions from the Iran conflict, which also continues to push gas prices higher. Some analysts are even forecasting $5 a gallon by Memorial Day. These macro events are critical to monitor as they shape the economic landscape we invest in. Turning to earnings, it's a busy week with plenty of big names reporting. We've got heavyweights like Microsoft, Meta Platforms, and ExxonMobil on deck, alongside others like Chevron and T-Mobile. Apple already crushed it with a strong beat, posting record March quarter revenue driven by iPhone and Mac demand, sending shares popping. Twilio also impressed with a 20% revenue jump fueled by AI communications trends, while Moderna narrowed losses with solid international sales. These results give us a pulse on how sectors are performing, and for long-term investors, they're a chance to see which companies are building sustainable growth. You can find exclusive earnings transcript summaries on MarketSnap to dive deeper into these reports and what they mean for your portfolio. Let's take a quick look at the top performers over the past week among large caps. Garmin led with a massive jump, followed by Lumentum Holdings and AppLovin, showcasing strength in tech and consumer sectors. These short-term surges can be tempting, but as long-term investors, we're more interested in whether these gains reflect enduring business models or just temporary hype. On the other end, some large caps stumbled hard this week. Genuine Parts took a steep dive, while Rivian and Blue Owl Capital also saw double-digit losses. These drops can sting in the short term, but they also remind us to look for underlying value. Sometimes a dip is just noise. Other times, it's a red flag for deeper issues. Shifting to sector performance over the past week, industrials topped the charts with a solid gain, followed by consumer cyclicals showing resilience. Energy also posted a standout weekly jump, likely tied to those geopolitical tensions we mentioned. For our long-term strategy, these sector moves help us decide where to overweight or rebalance our exposure over time. Meanwhile, healthcare lagged as the weakest sector this week, with utilities and financial services also underperforming slightly. These softer spots might not scream buy right now, but for patient investors like us, they could signal areas to watch for contrarian plays down the road. Wrapping up our market overview, the S&P 500's continued push to new highs, up over 10% in April alone, shows this bull run has legs, even with headwinds like inflation fears and Middle East tensions. As long-term investors, this broad strength is encouraging, but we've got to stay mindful of overvaluation risks in hot sectors. A balanced approach remains key. And over on the Nasdaq, the tech-heavy index is also setting records, fueled by AI and semiconductor optimism. This is a space where many of us have core holdings, and while the short-term momentum is exciting, it's crucial to keep our eyes on fundamentals to avoid getting caught in a bubble if sentiment shifts. That's a wrap for today's stock market summary from MarketSnap. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope this breakdown helps you navigate the markets with confidence. Be sure to stay engaged with our daily summaries and dive into our in-depth SWOT analyses on MarketSnap to keep building that long-term wealth. See you tomorrow for more insights. Keep investing smart.